Hi there, Faith Baptist Sound Volunteers. It's Pastor Borden, and I'm bringing you this kind of quick and dirty video just because I've just set up our new soundboard, and I wanted to be able to show you the basic operations of it in advance, and then when you get in, we'll get our hands dirty and get into the nitty-gritty a bit more. There'll be more videos and some written material to go with this as well about some of the things around setup and calibration, but today I'll just talk about basically how do you use this thing on a Sunday morning. Really all the stuff that you're likely to need to know for that. So this is the Allen & Heath SQ-5. It is a lovely little machine. I'm sure you know this because you haven't been doing it, but please do not bring any food or drink into the sound booth because this is a pretty expensive little machine and we must not spill anything down these sliders into the inside. So let's turn everything on. We've got the power box. We're going to give that a flip. I'm going to get this mounted to the board at some point, but here it is. It still works. And that'll gradually turn on the main speaker, the monitors, and then the board. Now, if you're used to being either on projection or on live stream, everything you did on those computers works the same. There's no changes to how any of that works, but you do need to know how some of this works in order to be able to do all of the aspects of those jobs. So, we're booted up now. We're on the main screen. So, here's a place where we can start. This thing has one really handy ability. And I'm going to go to the button called Scenes. Now we have two right now. We have Faith Default and Faith Backup. So basically, the way you've set this board up, you can save it. And then if a whole bunch of weird things happen, or you make some changes and they weren't good ones, or whatever it is, you can immediately go back to them anytime you want. So I'm going to say, okay, Faith Default, I'm going to go. Now it essentially was already there, but now we for sure are in the Faith Default scene. And if we make some changes that we like, we can hit Store. And then we can, or if we didn't like it, we can just go back to this and hit go and recall back to the way things were. So very handy because it means if we get a good setup we like for Sunday morning and someone comes in to do something else, or we can even have different scenes for different worship team setups and just bounce between them without having to do a whole bunch of recalibrating every time. So just like the old board, you've got 16 sliders for 16 channels plus the main over here. And what's new is that we can set these up however we want. So right at the moment, we've got cool little LEDs with labels too. So I've put all the mics that are, or all the channels that are just about talking over in the first set and made them green. So we've got the pulpit, the floor, and the pastor's mic. So that's there. Over here we've got all the vocals in blue. So for the worship team vocals, a spare one, the keyboard, and then the ones that go with the guitar setups for Andrew and Art at the moment. Over in yellow here, I've got the instruments themselves, the keyboard, the two guitar pickups, and the drums. And then over here in white, they're hard to see. There they are, room left, room right, those room mics that sit on top of the piano and the organ and pick up room sound for the live stream. And then the PC is in pink at the end, just where it used to be to get sound from the computer. So those are our channels, and that's kind of nice. You can change this around as much as you want, change the colors, change where they are, but I thought this was a convenient setup to start with. So those are the different channels we use. All right, these buttons over here that say Mix Select are really important because these will decide what those channel sliders do. So the first one is House. So you see when I press that, all the sliders just move to where I want. So if I press 12, which is an empty one, they all go to nothing. Press the mix, house mix. So the house mix is the sound in the room here. And so they all start at a kind of a default position. I've tried to calibrate that as best I can. The goal will always be that around 0 is usually about right, unless something funny is going on, in which case you can adjust it up or down. So if you're on the projection computer, your job is to keep an eye on this during the service and ideally during rehearsal, and just see if anyone requests to be turned up or down, or if you can tell that someone's too loud or too soft, then you can just adjust them on the slider. And what you do to the sliders while we've selected house mix only affects the house mix. It will not affect the monitors and it will not affect the live stream. You only have to worry about the sliders, and they only affect the sound in the room. We've got two more buttons for the monitors, left monitor and right monitor. Left monitor is broken right now. I think the stage input is actually busted, so we're going to try and get that fixed. But the right monitor is the one actually in front of the worship team. So when you press that, now we've got sliders. I've only got the ones for music up, but you can turn any of them up. And so during rehearsal time, worship team may ask to be, to have more keyboard or less this or whatever, and we can just adjust that with the slider easy enough. And that should get us there. And so that's mostly for the team's benefit. So that's something you're going to work with during rehearsal time. During the service itself, you're not likely to have to make adjustments to the monitors. And then number 5. So this is for the folks who are on live stream duty. This is the stream sound. So I'll press that one, and now these sliders correspond to the sound that's going out to the live stream and the assisted hearing unit. And so same deal. You're going to be listening in on your headphones to see what the stream sounds like as best you can. And if a speaker is way too soft, you can try to turn them up on a slider. If it sounds like if you can hear the keyboard way too loud, you can pull that down on a slider. And you just try to keep that sound working as well as you can. So instead of having rows and rows of knobs, we have these buttons to just change different mixes. So you're probably going to have it in house mix a lot of the time. But if the person listening in on the live stream and controlling that needs to adjust, then they're going to hit their button, and then they'll be controlling things from there. So you can't control 2 different things at the same time like you used to, but I think this is a lot cleaner than it was. So when it comes to a specific channel, if you want to make some bigger adjustments to it, so here I'll select the pastor channel, and I'm going to press the processing button. So now it shows me that channel, and I can do some things to control it. First of all, this is the gain, like the red knobs at the top of the board before. If I adjust that, it makes bigger changes to how loud the channel is, and you can see it doing it there. I can control it in the touchpad, or I can control it here using the knobs. Now, any change you make to this affects every mix. Okay, so we are not going to want to use that if we can help it. But if it's way too soft in one, then we can turn up the gain, and then maybe we need to turn it down on the slider in a different mix if it got too loud there. But that's an option. You can also do all this stuff on the touchpad itself, and that includes settings around things like EQ, the different kinds of sound, and you can adjust those with knobs. You can adjust them with the touchpad. We're not going to get into that, but there are some interesting options available to us with all that. There are other buttons here that I'll eventually show you what they do. There's one called routing that lets us use some different abilities. There's FX, which we're still learning how to use, but they exist. Scenes we talked about. Setup you're not going to have to worry about. And an input and output is kind of helpful if we ever have a situation where for some reason you only wanted to hear what was coming out of the monitors, or only wanted to cut off sound to the main speaker. I can press that button. No, I don't actually want to do that, but that would turn off the sound of the main speaker. So we can control where all of our inputs and outputs go. All right, other thing that's important. These are called soft keys. You can configure them to be whatever you want. And right now they're attached to what are called mute groups. And so this I think is going to make your life a lot easier. So I've got this one labeled talk. So when I press this one, all of the music related and computer related channels mute. So now only the green channels are on. So if someone's going up to pray, someone's going up to give an announcement, you can hit the talk button, and you don't have to worry about any interference from anything else. You're only going to have those couple of mics. You have to press it again for the mutes to come off. Sing is the next one. Turn that on. Only the channels related to the music are on now. So same kind of thing. I've got a PC channel that turns off everything but the computer channel. So if you're going to play a video from the projection computer, you don't have to worry about any interference from anything else. And just press that button. And then preach just turns off everything but the pastor's remote mic. So again, not having to worry about stuff coming through where it shouldn't. So that should probably simplify some things. I've also got one called No FX, which removes FX, which we're still experimenting with, so we don't have to worry about that a whole lot, but that exists, and there are a couple more of these that we can turn into whatever we want if we need to. You still have a set of headphones, and you've got a headphone control here to see how loud it is. You can listen in onto any channel using this button here, the PAFL. So when I activate one of those, I can hear a particular channel. At the moment, you can't select multiple channels. I'm going to have to figure out if there's a way to do that or not. But you can listen in on any one channel this way. And once I figure out how to get into multiple ones, I'll tell you all about that too. Last, you've got one more cool button here, talk. There's a special hookup for a microphone back here. and I'm going to get a little microphone stand. I ordered one from Amazon, but it was broken. But basically, when you can hold that talk button, and that makes this microphone go live, and then you can talk to the worship team from back here without having to yell and hoping for the best. And so that mic exists also. All right, that's a lot to take in already. So you're obviously going to have to get in and get your hands on this to really get a sense of it. But hopefully that will give you the main gist, that you want to make sure you're on the right mix. Then you adjust the sliders, and that's a lot of what you need to know. These soft mute buttons for the muting will also help big time, because you can just bounce back and forth between the talking and the singing and the preaching, and you'll know that everything else is off, and you don't have to worry about it causing you any problems. Last thing is turning this off, because like I said, it's a computer, and so we don't want to just flip the power off while it's active. So right now I'm on this channel. If I unselect this channel, all of a sudden we go back to the start screen, and we've got shutdown as an option. So just hit shutdown, say yes, I'm going to do that, unless you've made important changes. This is your warning in case there's important changes we want to keep, in which case we'd want to save those in the scenes, but we haven't. So we'll say yes, shutdown. And then it says it's now safe. So we're going to go, and I'm going to flip the switch, and it'll shut down the main speaker and the monitors, and then this unit. All right, thanks for giving this a watch. I hope that helps you get a little bit of a start before you get in here in person. And looking forward to walking people through this and seeing everybody again. Bye for now.